So one of the commenters
Yeah.
said, and I'm changing his statement slightly because I like it this way more, but you're reviewing the unboxing experience.
No, you're not. And if you are, it's not a review. Oh, it's
But what if it
honestly
is? But what if it is? Because there's a lot of thought and money and research that goes into improving the unboxing experience. You have commented in the past on packaging materials,
which I
on
also did in this case.
on included information in how things are on the presentation of the product. You know, there was a while there with Logitech mice where like the box like hinged open and the mouse was like nicely presented up top. It was all
Uh-huh.
beautiful and stuff. You've commented on those things. You have reviewed the unboxing
Right,
experience.
but that's not a review of the product. I feel like the review is kind of like dying, you know? Like people don't even
Yeah.
understand what is supposed to be a review and what isn't. And sometimes it even happens when people are defending me. Like I did a sponsored video a little while ago about a product and someone was like, okay, so there were two misunderstandings that I was reading in the comments here. So first, someone said, this review shouldn't be sponsored. And I was like, okay. So problem number one, nothing sponsored is ever a review. And then the second person defended me. They were like, Linus, oh, no. I remember. No, I remember his different video. So it was not a review. It was just like experiencing a thing. I think it was the RTX 3090 8K thing. So someone was like complaining. They were like, this review wasn't very thorough. And I was like, okay, well, it wasn't a review for one thing. It wasn't structured like a review. It wasn't positioned as a review. It wasn't called a review. The very fact that you think that this was intended to come across as a review means reviews must be kind of like dying. Like, when's the last time you saw a review of a product? A review has to be positive points, negative points, evaluating it from the point of view of either one niche, and you got to be kind of upfront about that, or from like a general use sort of standpoint, where you look at it, try to look at it from different perspectives. You're analyzing a product, and then the defense of it. The defense of it was, this is someone defending my video. They're like, no, this was a really good review because everything Linus said was totally true about the product. And besides, who cares? He's got to get paid. It doesn't matter if a review is sponsored. Yes, it does. It absolutely matters if a review gets sponsored. If it is okay, if it's not a review, it's not a review. That's step one. And if it's sponsored, it is not a review. Now, that doesn't mean that a sponsored video can't have good information about the product. And it doesn't mean that a sponsored video has to contain lies. We are very careful about it. When we do a sponsored video, we would never do a sponsored review. When we do a sponsored video, we make sure that if there's something about this product, some drawback that we feel is very important for our audience, we push back on the sponsors. We make sure that we can include it because people gotta know. Like, for example, the Oculus Quest video or Quest 2 video. We talked about how much of a bummer it is that the thing runs at 72 hertz because it is. That's a bummer. We even included the mandatory Facebook account. And we were like, well, you guys got to make your own decisions about that. But this is something we can't sweep under the rug. This is something that we have to talk about. So just because it's sponsored doesn't mean that it can't have good information. In fact, the FTC guidelines stipulate that you're not allowed legally to say anything you don't actually believe in a sponsored video. Now, of course, I know for a fact that people do it anyway.
It happens. Yeah.
But it's something that I personally take very seriously. It's just not a review. Anytime you see a sponsored video, you have to assume that a brand representative or representatives, and in many cases, a brand agency, has watched it and signed off on it. That's just part of the process. Now, that's not the case if we make a video about, let's say, this is a totally hypothetical scenario, unpacking and like reacting to a 6 terabyte memory server. And then it's like sponsored by Pulseway and we do some Pulseway talking points. totally not the same thing, because Pulseway, while they do have a software suite for managing and maintaining servers, has nothing to do with this particular server. You can use Pulseway on any server. Like, it's non-conflicting. These two things are related. So Pulseway might want to sponsor that video because they feel like, oh, anyone watching a server video might want to also know about Pulseway. But that's not like a conflict of interest in any way. It's only when you have the actual creator of the product sponsoring the content. So a perfect example of this would be something like Intel's video, where they sponsored our showcase, is what I would probably call that. Our first kind of use of their cryo cooler. That was not a review. I was not in a position to make my own judgment on the product. All I was doing was getting early access to the product, which, don't tell Intel this, but I would have like totally done it for free without a sponsorship because I was like super stoked to try it out. So all I was doing was getting early access to the product and going through that review process with Intel, where they have to approve the content ultimately. Everything I said in that video was true. Every result we showed was one that we measured, but it was not a review. Yes, go ahead.
So we've got some naysayers in the audience, and I want to try to address some of their comments.
Sure, hit me.
Someone's pointing out with I think a few different people mentioned the Quest video. Apparently it was not titled as a showcase.
No, it wasn't titled as a showcase, but it also wasn't quite a showcase. One of the differences with the Quest video is that instead of just talking through the talking points, we were given a great degree of autonomy and we were allowed to share our experiences with it in a very transparent manner. I was actually, I was kind of surprised, to be honest with you. So given that it wasn't really handicapped by the brand in any way, we went with a title that just didn't have anything in it. And we also didn't structure it or present it as though it was a review. We said, look, this is sponsored by Facebook. Here we go.
So do you think in what is your opinion of the audience not necessarily registering that things are reviews? Do you think that is on the viewer's side for maybe skimming too much or something like that? Or do you think that is potentially more the case of something like clickbait, or like, why do you think this is happening?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's all three. I think consumers are getting either less discerning, or maybe they just never cared, but media cared enough to do a better job. So they just sort of had better information because that's all that there was. So consumers seem to be more accepting of sponsored content and or marketing nonsense. I think that media has gone from being a profession, well, I mean, it's right in the word there. I think media has gone from being a profession, like one you go to school for, to one where just about anyone and their dog can build a following, regardless of how true anything they say is or how much they care about transparency and integrity. And I also think manufacturers are maybe not becoming less transparent, because lots of them have been plenty opaque over the years, but certainly taking advantage of this new advertising paradigm, where instead of them having to, pay an agency to create an ad and then run it on a network and check Nielsen ratings to see if it was effective and watch their sales, they can pretty much hire, your tech bro to like tell you it's so cool, brah. And they're jumping on that. Before you ask me my next question, Travel Guys posted, I never had a problem with what you said about M1 till now, but you tried to make your point and said Surface Pro X was not covered by your channel, but you did cover it. You're right. I actually didn't realize that until someone pointed it out to me. Riley did that entire video. He scripted it, used the product, shot it. It was edited and uploaded to the channel without me ever actually seeing it. I did not know we covered it. So that is my bad. My bad. I should know if there's something that we've covered on the channel, especially if I'm going to make a point like we never covered it. I never saw it. I never touched it. So I didn't care about it at all. So that part, my main point that I just didn't care about it at all, still stands. Apparently Riley cared enough. Riley cared enough. Okay, what else you got? Hit me.
There's a lot of comments, but I think they're mostly vague, and maybe I missed one, so sorry if you posted one that wasn't somewhat vague. But I think it's coming down to just a lot of people are finding that content is very similar.
Sure.
So hard to differentiate necessarily during the video, and that with the clickbaity nature of titles, and I don't necessarily think they are, and I wouldn't single Linus Media Group out for this. I think it's just like what the world has turned into, with the clickbaity nature that are titles on the internet as of now.
Yep.
I guess I would say it has become a little bit more difficult to.
You know what? That's fair.
To navigate that landscape.
We don't always put the word review in our reviews, and we don't always specifically, well, okay, we would never use the word review to describe something that's not a review, but we used to explicitly put review in all of our reviews, and we don't anymore. And that's a fair criticism. And honestly, I don't know how to fix it in a way that I'm willing to do. I could put review in the title of every review, but what it ultimately is wasted characters that are going to hurt my SEO and hurt click-through on the video. Because if I put, "You'll never believe what this is," and I make this stupid face, for some reason, 30 to 50 to 100% more people click on it. And that's one of the only ways sometimes that we can get people to click on what is a totally honest evaluation of a product that they might be interested in by the time they actually watch the video, but they just didn't know it. And that's so frustrating. Is like, for me, what I would want people to do is say, wow, I love tech and I just want to know about tech, and click on every video we upload, regardless of whether it's a review of a CPU or a graphics card, or like, okay, I did a video today that is going to have a clicky as title because there's just no getting around it, because what I was covering was a compact broadcast 4K camera. And I needed this camera, actually half a dozen of them, because due to COVID restrictions, I can no longer watch my son's badminton tournaments in person. So I missed out on him winning his first tournament. He won doubles in his last tournament. I wasn't there to watch any of his games. And so I was like, well, I'm Linus Tech Tips. I can fix this. So I'm gonna set up their entire gym with a camera on every court, and then all the parents are going to be able to watch all the games. And
That is so awesome.
I gotta pay for those cameras somehow, Luke. I gotta pay for them somehow. So you know what?
We gotta so legit, actually.
So the video is going to be called "I've never done anything like this before" or something like that, instead of Marshall CV420 or CV420 CS
and I
4K
hate
camera
just as much as the next guy, but that there's no way I would click on that video.
Marshall review.
I don't care about Marshall MCV camera. I'm never gonna, unless Brandon's face is in it, because I like watching Brandon videos about cameras. But like, that's it.
It's a super cool project, and our viewer retention numbers show that once we can get people to click it, they like the videos. So it's just, from my point of view, as long as the content remains true, as long as we keep our transparency, keep our integrity, I am willing to sacrifice the thumbnails and the titles. I accept it. I don't want it. I don't want that to be the case, but it is what it is. I got another comment from Katya. I stopped watching your MacBook Air unboxing because it was obvious you were still passing some speculation to undermine the product. No, what actually happened was I recorded it almost immediately after my Mac Mini unboxing, and we just can't upload two videos to the channel at exactly the same time because algorithmically it's really bad. They'll stomp on each other, and then people will stop getting notifications from you for a bit. So it was delayed. I just really didn't know anything about it yet. So yeah, sorry for that, but there was nothing I could really do about it because we didn't get those products until launch day. If we had had them earlier, I would have been able to upload them both, right away, maybe 6 hours apart instead of a day apart or whatever it ended up being, because it took time to edit them.
We don't need to keep going on this topic, and someone, thank you very much to the person that reminded me, but we need to do ad spots soon. But someone in all capitals on I love how the Twitch guys are like, And then the float plane guys are being helpful and reminding us that we need to do the ad spots. But the someone in Twitch in all capital letters said Linus is a flip flopper. And I know you like addressing that topic, so I wanted to give you that chance, and then we should jump into ad spots right away.
Flip-flopping when new information becomes available is called not being an idiot. If you don't flip-flop when new information comes out, you're a tool. That's all there is to it.
If the new information is counter to what you currently
right.
believe.
Yeah. Also, there was no flip-flop. I never said it was going to be bad. I literally never said it. Not once. So, no, flip-flopping is absolutely what you should do. If there's new information that changes the situation, your first response should be to immediately flip-flop. Immediately. Yeah. Because if you don't, then you're a filthy fanboy. And fanboys are actually the worst people. Sorry. You're like actually everything that's wrong with the world. Tribalism is bad. It's terrible.